Games, Brrraains A Head-Banging Life, and we're track by track, and we're going for a more modern band here. We are looking at Ghost Bath. The album, Moonlover, the second studio album by the American post-metal band, Ghost Bath. Released April 10th, 2015 through Northern Silence Productions. Yes, Ghost Bath, a band, I can't even remember how I found them, but I stumbled across them. No. I heard one track of theirs, which is off this album, and I was sold. I was hooked. And I think the album that followed this, Star Mourner, is actually better overall. Like, Star Mourner is incredible. But I'm a huge fan of Ghost Bath. Seen them live a few times. Yeah, and I really love this album.
Yeah, I mean, I know I heard them through you. So I did read when I was looking up some stuff for this on the band that this was the first album since they were outed as being from America.
Yeah, that whole business was weird as fuck.
I thought it was just funny the way that the website I read it on had worded it as outed. You know, like, aha, we found out. I just think that if I remember correctly, the story was that the press had assumed them to be like Asian, Japanese, something like that. And they just had never bothered. They hadn't said anything about it. They hadn't corrected it. They were trying to keep up this whole air of mystery about the band.
Yeah.
So the press could say what they want, and then somebody found out they were from like some place in the States.
Yeah,
they tried to all make it a big deal, like the band that pretended they weren't American. It's like, no, they just didn't say anything. You all said it.
Yeah, this went all over my head when I discovered them. This whole thing, I never even came into it. The first sort of shit I read was that Deaf Heaven weren't fans of theirs because Deaf Heaven thought Ghost Bath were ripping off their sound. I mean, I love Deaf Heaven as much as I do Ghost Bath. I can see the similarities. But I would also argue there are many other post-black metal bands, post-metal bands and stuff that have it as well.
It's a genre sound, isn't it? It's not a band sound. That's why the genre exists. Otherwise, every black metal band's ripping off every black metal band, and every thrash metal band's ripping off every thrash metal band. It's not how it works.
I agree. We begin with an intro. It is The Sleeping Fields. Short, mellow, nothing to it. It's an intro.
Yeah, nice little scene setter.
Yeah,
I like the guitars. I like the melody. It's got a bit of mystery to it. It's a nice little start. Get you bedded in, ready for what's going to come, really.
Yeah, what is going to come is the best Ghost Bath song ever. It's the song that got me into them, and I'd had a couple of years off of not listening to this, so when I re-listened to it, I had a blast listening to it. It's Golden Number. I love this track. It's a myriad of ups and downs, a savage assorted times with wonderful guitar riffs that lighten the load. The vocal howls are simply brilliant. The whole structure of this song is fabulous. The keyboard outro is fucking wonderful. Yeah, I love this. It's what, 8 odd minutes long? And I'm condensing a few words. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I liked it a lot, this song.
Okay.
Certainly, the thing is, I don't think I've heard a song by Ghost Bath. I have feelings for Less Than Like.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? Like, but like, I didn't love it. I thought at the beginning I was like, oh bloody hell, this is quite long. Everything that happens in it, I really enjoy. I think the drums are great. I think it still sounds very nice and modern too. It doesn't. I know it's only 4 or 5 years ago, but it doesn't sound particularly dated, even up against Star Mourner or anything like that. It sounds like it could continue straight on. I know the vocals can be contentious, but I am a fan of it. But mostly for me, I just like the clean guitars when they come and they bed themselves in over the rest of the track. That's the thing I love about Ghost Bath, is as much as I'm enjoying it and I'm bedded into the atmosphere and I love it, and then that lead guitar comes in over the top and plays some melody or harmony, and I'm like, yeah,
it's banging. Yeah,
got me. I think it's great. It's really skilled. There's a nice little switch for a bit of groove, which I like. And then I realized I had 5 minutes to go, which is what I wrote. But thankfully, time does pass fast. And I think that's always, with a long song, that's the important thing. Is like when you look at, when it ends and you're like, oh, was it over already? Rather than you're constantly looking at it and going, bloody hell, 4 minutes left to go. Oh, 3 minutes. So yeah, it's very good. The one thing I would say with this song, but I think this is probably for a lot of their songs, is like, while you listen to it, you can feel like this is I'm gonna try and say this without sounding like an arrogant dick, but this isn't for like a newbie.
Oh, right.
Do you know what I mean? It doesn't. You listen to this and you think like, I know like friends of mine. I'm sure you're the same. This is not the sort of song you play them.
Oh.
Do you know what I mean? You've got to be bedded in a little bit. You've got to have an appreciation of like maybe the progressive black metal and all that to be able to fully appreciate it, I think.
Well, yeah, because the moment if I was to even try and attempt to play this to a non-metalhead, the moment the screams start, that I would automatically be like, no, let me explain. And I'd be doing shit like that. And I don't want to have to do that crap. So I'll do the story now because it's come up several times. So Bloodstock, Ghost Bath played Bloodstock many years ago, and they were the first band on the Sunday morning, and I was super stoked. They're one of the bands I was most excited to see. It was coming back of me hearing this album. It might have been 2016, actually. First thing Sunday morning, and I was like, you know what, that's great. The main stage won't be busy. It'd be great. And a subset of fans at that stage decided it was hilarious to try and mimic and copy the Ghost Bath vocalist while he was doing his shit on stage. So all you got was people screaming, trying to scream like him in the crowd. And for me, it proper ruined the experience. For me, it really fucking did. It sticks out of my head. And I'm still kind of bitter about it because it was like, fuck you, go watch something else then. Just leave me who wants to watch this shit on it. And that's kind of like stuck with me. But so like, I've always felt defensive of this vocal style. Personally, I fucking adore it. It's something quite, for me at the time, was different. I'd never really experienced a vocal idea that was almost no lyrics and was predominantly just howls and screams. And it wowed me. I was like, this is so uniquely clever, alongside all the other stuff that make Ghost Bath great, But they ended that set with Golden Number, and the band leave the stage, and the front man, the singer, is the one that plays the keyboards as the outro, so to speak. Yeah. Happy House.
There you go.
Different kind of name, Happy House. A smarter, slower tempo with a ringing guitar tone gives this a much darker feel. I describe this as sounding like you're falling into a void.
Yeah, I suppose out of everything on the album, it's probably the one I struggle with the most.
Mm-hmm.
Again, not struggle to the point that I think it's a bad song, because I liked predominantly like most of it. I felt like the sort of slow start. It's quite fuzzy.
Yeah.
And I did write in brackets because I used the word slow. I wrote Doom. Which is not anything to do with Doom.
Everything slow is Doom.
But I quite liked that, and I thought it was quite cool, but I did find that it stretched on a bit, and I found myself getting distracted, which is a bit annoying because I kind of felt like they did it on purpose, because I think sometimes with these this kind of gaze sort of genre, the whole point is to hit you with this repeat over and over and over again until you can't take it anymore, and then switch.
Yeah, okay.
We don't switch when you're ready for it. We switch when you're at the point where like, oh my God, change it. You're breaking my brain here. So I kind of found myself getting annoyed with myself that I was getting annoyed with it.
Yeah.
Because I knew at some point it probably would switch. And when that switch does come, I appreciated it so much more because of the fact that I was so desperate for it. But at the same time, it kind of makes it, I guess, not, I don't know, it's not a massively comfortable listen for me. I wouldn't listen to it again and again and again, because I now know that I've got to go through all of that good music, but repetitive, until I get to that point where the guitars start driving in and that.
Yeah, this is not one of my favorite on the album at all. Easily one I'd skip over if I was listening to a couple of tracks. And then we get Beneath the Shade Tree. It's always odd to see these shorter efforts. A Ghost Bath track that comes in at less than 5 minutes, heresy. But it's a very mellow offering, light and airy, that doesn't happily overstay its welcome. Like, the shortness actually works in its favor here. But for me, this is very unmemorable. Like, this is very much okay, that was fine. Move on.
Yeah, I do like it. Again, it's weird with these things because the ones that I don't like, I just don't like them as much as others. And this is one of the ones that fall into that category too. Yeah. It's got nice melodies, nice atmospheric kind of feel to it. There's lots of variety from the guitars. It's quite enjoyable to listen to for a bit. But, that's kind of it. Once it's gone, and it's not going to sort of stay around too long in the memory.
Yeah, exactly that. The Silver Flower Part 1. The darker and more naturistic tone for me is an improvement. If it wasn't sharing space with the previous track, it would be much better served. Instead, having two mellow affairs in a row in an album that is only however long it is seems overkill, to do that. However, I do really like this track. It's just, you've gone Beneath the Shade Tree and now the Silver Flower Part 1. I didn't really get why they did that.
Yeah, I mean, I pointed out the same thing, that, you know, to have two in a row was maybe pushing it a little bit, but I was kind of okay with it because again, I like the atmospheric sort of bits that come into it. I like the melodies, you know, all that stuff's kind of fine. But the reason I was okay with it is because I just kind of assumed that this only exists for one reason, and that is so that the next song isn't 12 minutes long.
Yes.
That's all. I
Part
think,
one, part two, exactly that. An intro, so to speak, a long intro, but there you go.
yeah.
The Silver Flower Part 2 is the one that it's leading into. I really like the moment the pace increases here and the drums lead the way for once. I found the drums in this track more than anything else to be, whoa, they're really fucking firing here. It gets really frantic as it goes on and on and on. And I thought that was really cool, especially as it kind of then does drift away. Similar to what you said before, that almost like the franticness gets so too much that it has to stop. I'm a big fan of this one.
Yeah, so am I. Yeah, I think it's fantastic.
Yeah.
I did, you know, and I think obviously coming off the back of the two mellow kind of instrumental affairs, I did point out that, you know, kind of obviously it picks up the pace and the ferocity a little bit, but it is so desperately needed. But again, that whole kind of thing what I was saying before in Happy House, where they kind of hit you with something over and over again, and you're desperate for that change to come. Yeah. And that kind of happened here off the back of the fact that Beneath the Shade Tree and the Silver Flower Part 1 happened. So there's another song coming on now. I'm like, please, come on, let's do it. And then when they do, it's like it's that huge relief and enjoyment. But there's everything about this is great. I think the drums in this are really, really good. It's like it's not just a straight up, you know, either they're not there for the melodic bits or it's like blast beats for the heavy bit. There's actually a kind of slow stomping kind of beat to them, which is great. I love, you know, all the usual stuff, man. I love it. The guitars, I like the way it does the kind of heavy stuff, drops back down into the melody and then bang, have some more metal, you know. Yeah, it's just brilliant. Really enjoyed this song. Fantastic. Probably my favorite so far.
Oh, I'd put it my second favorite because I love Golden Number, but there you go. Anyway, we're already at the end. That's it. We're already at the end, and it's Death and the Maiden, which for me is ending on a high. Exactly the sort of Ghost Bath I love. A furious blast of post with an upbeat tempo, dark undercurrent of black metal. It's got tons of energy. It's a worthy closer. Worthy of my time.
Yep. So obviously, because I only had like 2 songs from this on my music player, so I downloaded it, and because of that, I have 8 tracks. But there you go. I think one of them was like, you know, how you get that sometimes was like on the Japanese release or something like that.
Oh, there was. You're right. Yeah.
Yeah, a song called Ascension. But Death and the Maiden, I don't even know why I bothered to write this down, but just originally, and I was like, oh, because does the time work out? But around the same year, Cradle of Filth released Cryptoriana.
Yeah.
Not long after this, anyway, which also had a song on it called Death and the Maiden. So I was quickly like, didn't both do like a cover of the same song or something like that.
Right. Yeah.
But there's no connection whatsoever. They're so fucking different. It's unbelievable. But, you know, I love it. I start straight off with the heavy side of the music, which was actually quite a surprise, but like in a nice way, because generally I'm expecting it to be to build.
Yeah.
And it just goes bang at that, you know. Yep. And I was like, oh shit, what's happening here? This is brilliant. I got all excited. Usual stuff, man. Drums are great, guitars are great, the screams are as tense as fuck. I love it. Brilliant song.
Okay. Well, you have an extra track, so you might as well do tell me what you think of the extra track.
Yeah, okay, so Ascension, I mean, firstly, why the hell a song like this exists as a bonus track is beyond me, because it just fits so perfectly on the album, and it's the perfect closer for the album. It annoys me that it's not just on every version of the album. It feels more like not a cutting room floor one that we'll give to a special edition, like, oh, let's chop one song off, so that's a standard edition, and leave it on for the special edition. So I love it. It's actually one of my favorite songs on the whole album. It's brilliant. Rumbling riff, gorgeous melody, heavy bits go crazy. The drums are fucking insane. Like, there's no better in terms of speed, not necessarily in terms of skill, song on this album for drums. Like, this is by far the most, like, you kind of stop and you go, fuck off. It's got to be a machine. It's got to be. And then, like, it ends with 2 or 3 minutes of melody that just gets lower and lower and lower until it's just the keys.
Wow.
That's it. So, you know, guitars dropping away, the drums drop away, all like it's meant to be the closer. It's the weirdest thing with it. You've got to check it out as a song. You'd be like, it makes more sense than Death and the Maiden being the closing song.
This is going to bother me. I want to see what edition that was actually on, so I'm going to Google it now.
Yeah.
Let's find out.
But it is it's just a strange thing.
Track.
A what?
It was on the reissue bonus track.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So yeah, because obviously normally when we do this, I always kind of try and stick to what the original track listing was and ignore any extended reissues of things like that.
Yeah, I tend to always do them, but I just don't always say, like, if you say you haven't done them, I just don't mention it. It was only this time around when I was like, I didn't realise.
Years ago, I think, because I don't know this track.
Yeah, it's genuinely one of my favourite on the whole album.
Okay, cool. All right, well, you've got 3 tracks to choose from 8. I've got 3 tracks to choose from 7.
So for me, Death and the Maiden, then Ascension, then Silver Flower Part 2.
Pretty much the same.
I'll just take 1 as well with it. You may as well. I'll take Silver Flower 1 as well, just as the intro.
As an intro, yeah. Yeah, I mean, it'd be the same for me. Death and Maiden, Silver Flower, Part 1, 2 together, and Golden Number is the difference for me. Although that might change if I hear Ascension. Golden Number,
yeah.
Baby, so there you go. Ghost Bath Moonlover. Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Thank you very much for watching. You can check us out on gbhbl.com as well as on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter and Tumblr. Go to Patreon and help us out over there. That's patreon.com/gbhbl, as well as Big Cartel, where you can find some of our merchandise. We have a podcast running on SoundCloud and Apple Podcasts. And of course, if you like this video, do us a favour, hit the subscribe button and help the channel grow. Games, horror and heavy metal. What else is life for?